Hello friends, very good evening. Today we will see section 125 of the Companies Act, that is for Investor Education and Protection Fund. This section tells about the Investor Education and Protection Fund. The background behind this is the stock market in India is governed by SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India. But what about the awareness and protection about the investor? It is done by Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority. So section 125 says us about this Investor Education and Protection Fund. The fund shall be created by the Government of India. It is a fund of Government of India. It is managed and owned by Government of India. Section 125 subsection 2 says about which are the amounts which are credited in this Investor Education and Protection Fund. The first amount is the grant of government. It is the basic duty of the Indian government according to the Constitution to protect the interest of the citizens of India. So government will allocate some grant by budget or by parliamentary sanction, and that amount will be credited to this fund. The second amount is donation by central government, state government, or any company or any other institution. The third amount is which is credited in this fund is unpaid dividend account. If company declares any dividend and if the investor or the shareholder does not claim that dividend within 7 years, then automatically that dividend goes to the unpaid dividend account after 7 years. This the fourth amount is the same kind of amount which was earlier used to transfer under section 205C of the Companies Act 1956. The next amount is interest or other income from investment made from the amount credited in this fund. That means if any person is having any money in hand, that is cash does not earn any return. Cash is cash. Even if you keep cash with you of 5 crore, after 1 year it will be 5 crores only. But if it is invested somewhere in the form of fixed deposit or shares or property, then it can earn capital gain, interest or dividend. So in the same manner, the fund authority also invests the amount unused in some another investments. The next amount is the amount credited under subsection 4 of section 38. What is subsection 4 of section 38? We will see later. But now, for the time being, we should remember that some amount under subsection 4 of section 38 is transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. The next amount, the amount in the General Reserve account of the central government which had been transferred to that account under subsection 5 of section 205A of the Companies Act 1956. This is another amount which was earlier used to transfer under section 205A of the Companies Act 1956. Next amount is the application money received by the companies for allotment of any securities and due for refund. We apply in the IPO or FPO, that is initial public offer or further public offer, but sometimes IPO is oversubscribed and only some portion of the applicants get the shares. For an example, when the IPO of R Power, that was Reliance Power, was issued, it was oversubscribed by 41 times. So out of 42 applicants, only one applicant got share. So 41 applicants were given refund of the money applied for. So this amount, but sometimes what happens, the company send the checks of the refund to the address of the investors or potential investors, but the house is closed or for some or another reason the amount could not be get by the investors. So that amount is transferred after 7 years to Investor Education and Protection Fund. In the same manner, there is some deposits. For an example, we invest in fixed deposit of banks. In the same manner, there are corporate bonds or corporate debentures which are issued by the companies. and they are redeemed after a certain period of time. for an example 5 years. But after 5 years, the debentures are on some person's name, but that person doesn't appear, don't appear to take their amount. So this amount lies unpaid, lying unpaid in the account of the company. So after 7 years, this amount is also transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. The same manner is mature debentures. Debenture is somewhat equivalent to mature deposits. The next amount is interest accrued on the amounts referred to clause H2J. That means whatever the interest are on about 3 points. Next, it's sale proceeds of fractional shares arising out of issuance of bonus shares, merger and amalgamation for 7 or more years. This is very understandable. We have also seen in this amalgamation chapter that fractional shares calculation we make, and some amount is excess amount. This excess amount is transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. The company redeem debentures as well as preference shares. In India, no company can issue irredeemable preference shares. The maximum time limit for redeem the preference share is 20 years. So after max 20 years, any company has to redeem the preference shares. So this preference shares, in the same manner, if are not claimed, the amount of redemption is not claimed by any investor, then this amount after 7 years is transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is also very much understandable. And next amount is other amount. In any topic we write other. Others is our general one topic which we can add. The proviso to this subsection is that provided that no such amount referred to in clause H2J shall be part of the fund unless such amount has remained unclaimed or unpaid for a period of 7 years from the date it became due for payment. That means the amount due for the payment. For example, dividend is due for payment the date on which it is declared. So from that date to 7 years, after 7 years it is automatically get transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. But before 7 years, it remains in unpaid dividend account that we have seen in the relevant sections of dividend. The next subsection comes subsection 3, section 125, subsection 3. This subsection tells us about how the money credited to the fund is used, for what purpose the authority can use this money, because every authority or every fund is constructed or is formed for some purpose. So what could be the reasonable purposes for this amount to be used? So first purpose is refund in respect of unclaimed dividends, mature deposit, mature debentures, the application money due for refund, and interest thereon. This means earlier it used to happen that if the money is transferred after 7 years to Investor Education and Protection Fund, the investor was not able to claim or to get the money back from that fund. But nowadays, the government has relaxed the provisions, and by following certain procedures, we can also claim our money back. We can get our money back, which we earlier forgot to claim, or we earlier about miscare or didn't take care of those amount, and that too with interest we will get that amount. The next use of that fund is promotion of investors' education, awareness, and protection. This the name of the fund itself suggests that it is about some welfare of the investors, some awareness, some vigilance about the investors. See, this is India. In India, anything can happen. There are many fraudulent schemes, there are many fraudulent plans that we have seen. They claim us or they guarantee us to give very vast amount of return, but ultimately they defraud us. So how to make the investors vigilant? So it is the duty of government. So This amount is used for education, awareness and protection of the investors or the potential investor. So government, sometimes we see some ads in newspapers, televisions or some other proper media where we can find some ads which awares the investors about the some fraudulent schemes or some other techniques. The next usage of the fund is distribution of any disgorged amount among eligible and identifiable applicants for shares or debentures, shareholders, debenture holders or depositors who have suffered losses due to wrong actions by any person in accordance with the orders made by the court which had ordered disgorgement. That means shareholders, debenture holders or depositors have been defrauded by someone. For example, company, and court orders to give some refund to those sufferers of the fraud. So to make them to help them, some amount can be used. The word disgorge means, हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना उबलना, कुछ हमने खाया हुआ हो वो बाहर निकल जाता है, वॉमिट हो जाती है ना, उसको डिस्गॉर्ज कहते हैं. तो गवर्नमेंट कई बार क्या करती है कि किसी ने पैसे चुरा लिए या फिर डिफ्रॉड कर लिए तो गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर देती है कि वो मनी वापस दे दो. यहाँ पे भी उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन भी दिया हुआ है. The disgorged amount refers to the amount received through disgorgement or disposal of security. यानी कि समझ लो कि कोई कंपनी ने फ्रॉड किया और सेबी ने पूरी कंपनी सीज कर दिया और सारी सिक्योरिटीज बेच दी और जो मनी आए वो इन्वेस्टर को दे दी. तो इस तरह से भी ये मनी यूज होते हैं. The next usage is reimbursement of legal expenses incurred in pursuing class action suits under section 37 and 245 by members, debenture holders or depositors as may be sanctioned by the tribunal. And this section tells about sometimes the small investor does not have money to fight case in High Court or Supreme Court. These days we can see that in India to fight a case is very much costly. The fees of lawyers is very costly. So to help them, government can also reimburse some legal expenses in pursuance of section 37 and 245. What is section 37 and 245? So 37 is about misstatement in prospectus, and 245 is about management of or conduct of affairs of the company are being conducted in a manner prejudicial to the interest of the company or members or depositors. That means company is doing something wrong, or company has given some false information in the prospectus before the IPO. Generally, everybody knows that prospectus is issued before IPO or at the time of IPO. The next usage is any other purpose incidental thereto. The word here important is incidental thereto. That means relevant to above purposes. Incidental expenses, sometimes we use this word in taxation also. So incidental expenses, and in accordance with such rules as may be prescribed. Next slide is as I have discussed earlier, that the amount the person whose amount has been transferred to unpaid dividend account or the mature deposits or mature debentures, and after seven years it got transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund, they can also get refund even after 7 years. Shall be entitled to get refund out of the fund in respect of such claims in accordance with rules made under this section. That means we can also get refund out of the amount which have been transferred Investor Education and Protection Fund. Earlier, the government was strict that after 7 years you can't get the money back, but now it has relaxed some provisions. For getting this money back, we need to apply to the proper authority, that is Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority. This subsection tells about that. Now we will see what is the constitution of the authority. The central government shall constitute by notification an authority for administration of the fund consisting of a chairperson and such other members not exceeding 7 and a chief executive officer as the central government may appoint. So there will be a chairperson and such other members not exceeding 7 and a chief executive. That means chairperson, 7 members and chief executive. The next section tells about, the subsection tells about the manner of administration of the fund, the manner of appointment of chairperson, the manner of appointment of members, the manner of appointment of chief executive officer, the manner of holding of meetings of the authority. It says that all these things will be done in accordance with the rules as may be prescribed. Yet these rules have not been prescribed, but in future it may be prescribed. The next subsection is section 125, subsection 7. The central government will provide to the authority officers, employees and other resources in accordance with such rules as may be prescribed. As we have discussed earlier, it is the duty of government to protect the interest of the citizens. So central government will also provide office, that is infrastructure. Central government will also provide officers, employees and other resources as may be needed to run the fund. The next subsection is section 125, subsection 8, subsection 10 and subsection 11. These subsections altogether tells about the account and auditing of the fund. See, any fund or any organization must be keep proper books of account and it must be properly audited periodically. Otherwise, there are some chances of frauds. This subsection reads as the authority shall administer the fund and maintain separate accounts and other relevant records in relation to the fund in such form as may be prescribed after consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. That means which authority? Authority is the Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority. This authority will administer the fund. It means it will manage the fund. It will manage and prepare separate books of account and other relevant records, and that too in consultation with, that means after taking the proper advice from the CNAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. It is the highest auditing authority in India for government audit. Then the next subsection tells us the authority shall prepare its annual report giving a full account of its activities during the financial year and forward a copy thereof to the central government. It will also not only keep the financial record, it will also prepare annual report of its activities. What are the activities it has conducted during the year? That report will be forwarded to the central government. Next, the accounts of the fund shall be audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, and such audited accounts together with audit report shall be forwarded annually to the central government. First of all, CNAG will help us help the IEPF authority to in making and in preparing the separate books of account and relevant records, and it will also audit the same. And along with the audit report and annual report, it will be sent to the central government, and the central government shall cause the annual report and audit report given by the CNAG to be laid before each house of parliament. That means Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. This report will be read, or this report will be discussed among the parliament member of parliaments. So this is something about investor education and protection fund. Thank you. Have a nice day.